Week 11 PKFL podcast. And I have two guests tonight. Patty Mack and Carlos Hyde are in the house.
You could be in your house for a second round.
Not anymore. The deadline has passed, so it's over.
I literally bought a Carlos Hyde jersey on eBay the other day. It just didn't get here on time. I wanted to wear that for the.
Oh man!
Now,
all right, well,
I'll just have to wear. I'll just save
good.
that for week 17 when he leads the Big Ten to the All-Star Championship.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay. Let's see if he cracks that lineup.
All right, well, it's really good to have you guys. We haven't had a podcast since the After Waiver podcast in week 4, so it's been a while. Schedules are just hectic. I was wanted to do it last week. I couldn't do it after the long day of work, and I'm glad you guys can join me tonight, though.
No worries. Glad to be here.
All right, so let's we need a big regroup. Like I said, I mean, it's been weeks, so we really need to go through the standings, kind of talk about each division, and then kind of the playoffs picture as well. So what division do you want to start in?
Start with the good one, the Big Ten.
All right, the Big Ten. So currently, Adam and I, the Munchkins, are tied with the Maulers at the top with 8-2. I currently have the tiebreaker because I beat the Munchkins when we faced each other a few weeks ago. And then Easy Money at 7-3, and then Huge Asshole at 2-8.
Yeah, so based on CBS's power ratings, with record points and record breakdown, the top 3 teams are in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
So this is definitely where to start. The Big Ten, is what did this say? Yeah, we're 12 games over 500. The next best division is 4 under, so it's a little crazy.
Wow.
4 under? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And even with my city power ranking, every week when I see the CBS updates, it's always like you would be 4 and 5 if you played like this shitty team in the Marist division. So it's tough.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, I always find that interesting. Like when it gives those stats, it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It does show you how the scheduling gods can either look at you highly or help you out or really hurt you. So,
right.
When you have a genius like Rob in your division, it's just going to be tough.
Yeah. So I was going to bring it up later, but I might as well bring it up now. One of the things I'm going to suggest in the off season is I actually think the division structure should go away. And I think we just talked about one of my reasons why. I mean, there shouldn't be potentially a chance that, like, Adam right now is not going to – he's going to end up being a 4 seed. If it ended right now, he'd be a 4 seed. And that's, to me, a slap in the face for a team that's 8-2. And I think everyone thinks he's probably a front runner to win it all. So, to me, the divisions, they were fun for a while, but – it really doesn't make sense. We have the balanced schedule. We have the unbalanced schedule already. So I'm going to make the suggestion. I'd like to hear what your guys' viewpoints are on getting rid of the divisions.
Well, with the changes of the teams like that we had with what's his name leaving,
Rick,
does it even make sense? Like Marist and
well, Syracuse, yeah, Joe went to Rutgers with me, so that's why he was in the Big Ten with Adam. So, I mean, Marist is still the Marist. Those guys still went to Marist, but I know Jonathan didn't go to Syracuse. So, to me, I think you're right. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It was fun to have that, but the fact that whoever's going to, I don't want to say the worst division, but if we say the Marist is the worst, I mean, they're going to get the 3 seed for a team like Adam, and that just doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't sit well.
Yeah.
Well, that can change. I mean, it's just a bad year. It's kind of been, look at YEM. I had the bye 2 years ago. So that there are some quality teams that come out of there, but it's just a bad year for us. We're all kind of like stuck in the middle. Stiff Arm's kind of rebuilding faster than we thought. Josh is reloading, and me and JR are in the middle.
But I'm saying, of course, it can shift. So next year, Syracuse can be But what I'm saying is, why are we giving preferential treatment to winning that division when it really doesn't mean anything?
Yeah, I mean that's the structure we have. Obviously, being part of that division, I kind of like it. Kind of gives us a little help, but I get your point there for sure. Something to vote on.
It's fun.
I mean, to be honest with you, it doesn't necessarily change who the playoff teams are. Again, I think it helps change the seeding, and it helps reward the teams that are doing well. I mean,
yeah, I mean, look at all of us Marist people. We're beating up on each other because we're all so even right now that, division records, it's either 1-2 or 2-1 so far. So that's kind of helpful. Like you're 3-0 in your division, and your division's got 3-0, 2-1, 1-2, 0-3. So that's a little bit more competitive or non-competitive. I don't know what you want to say there, but I don't know. I kind of like the divisions because it's fun for teams that seem to be in the same place, like the Marist division, and you got three. You're going to get 3 playoff teams out of your division anyway.
yeah, but again, why is Adam a 4 seed? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, he is right now, but
I just want to talk about it. It's got to come up for a vote, so everyone's going to get their say. But to me, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's not fair. It's just more for the fun of it.
Right. Right.
I'd have to think about how I vote. I mean, it's definitely obviously not the fairest way, but talking about the divisions, I think it makes the these podcasts. It makes these podcasts interesting and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I may vote to keep them, even if it doesn't really make sense.
Well, my rule 2 change would be, okay, we keep divisions, but we're going to shuffle up the teams then, because there needs to be a better balance of teams. I mean, you can't have 3 really good teams in one division beating the hell out of each other.
But who's to say you shuffle the teams up and the same shit doesn't happen, or same shit happens?
All right, but that's why you don't have division. You're proving my point. You don't need divisions.
Yeah. Well,
you could still.
It doesn't make a difference no matter what. Don't we have a lot of stuff to talk about today, though? But not that.
Well, I'm just saying you could still talk. We still have the historical notation that there is a Marist division. We could always kind of say the old Marist division rivalry or something like that. But anyway,
yeah, something to think about.
So right now, like I said, I'm currently the 1 seed. Miner's number 2. And then right now it's Stiff Arm is number 3 with Adam in the Munchkins in the 4 seed, and Easy Money in the 5th seed, and Stash with the final playoff spot. And he's kind of fighting it out with JR Rules and YEM, because everybody else is probably pretty much a have-not, and I would say are out of it at this point.
My app says Stiff Arm's in second seed. So that's even more crazy if you think about it.
Well, he must have more points than Mr. Miner.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's see. Miner's got 1144. Yeah, he's got him by like 80 points. Stiff Arm does.
So how do you, being at a 5-5 and 1 game out, how do you feel about your chances right now, Pat?
Without Antonio Brown, my team is not a contender. So I'm just kind of hoping I get lucky. This kind of stuck in the middle shit. It sucks, but I'm trying to make do with what I got. I mean, I could do it. You never know. I mean, I play Stiff Arm this week. So.
I mean, Gordon is back looking strong. So I mean, I kind of like your chances based on Zeke and Gordon.
Yeah, having
no
runners now. I mean,
Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, Melvin. We know which Gordon you were talking about. The good one.
I still had to laugh just because of the coincidence there, but
yeah.
So,
I mean, it's definitely a wide open division, except for Josh. You know which direction he's going in, but that's changing quick. If you see all the moves he made, which we'll talk about later. I'm hoping I got Stiff Arm this week. Josh Jacobs is questionable. That's going to make or break his week. If he doesn't play, then then I really like my chances to tie up the division. But if Jacobs plays, then it's going to be pretty close.
Okay. How long is Emmanuel Sanders out for?
They didn't say. They said he's practicing, or he was limited, I think, today. No, actually, he did not practice today, so it doesn't look good for this week. That screwed me last week too. Mr. Miner got me by 0.8. One more catch for 3 yards from Sanders, or McLaughlin doesn't miss that field goal in overtime, and I got that game. That would have been crucial right now for me. Would have been tied with stiff arm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that is a big miss when you lose by less than a point. It's tough.
1-1 in games under 1 point for YM this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it, 0.15 versus Jonathan's team earlier in the year?
So if you're looking at your competition for that last spot, what do you think of JR and Berto? Because those are the stash, because those are your two competitors to get in that last spot.
Well, JR's team is interesting because he's got Tyreek Hill back now, who seems like he's fine. If you saw him run after I forget whoever caught that other touchdown, he like caught up to him last week. You saw the jets that he had. It was unbelievable how fast he was going. And then, Juju Smith-Schuster hasn't produced because his quarterback's been hurt. So that those two positions were positions of strength for him, and that's kind of killed him. Cody, you want to chime in about the stash while I look him up? Or not? Can you hear me still, Dave?
I don't know where he went.
That's fine. I got stash up here. Well, that what's going on with them is they're a Falcons heavy lineup, and the Falcons just aren't getting it done this year. Even with Matt Ryan, Julio, Devontae Freeman, they're just not putting up the stats that really he's been relying on the last few years. It's kind of like a team built around the success of the Falcons, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree that he does have too many ties to one team, and they're in a down year right now. They can have good games. It's definitely still possible, but they're more of a matchup-based team at this point. They do have the benefit that their defense sucks, so they'll probably be in some shootouts.
Mm-hmm.
So he might get some garbage time kind of points, which is always good for fantasy. But I kind of agree with you that he's kind of a little too heavy there on the Falcons.
Yeah, it's how this is. I mean, you really kind of need to spread out and get the studs from everybody, because as I know with my team, with having too many Rams and too many Chargers right now, it's like, who's going to get the points? You can't have everybody go off the same week. It doesn't work that way. And in fantasy, sometimes that's what you need to win. So it's almost better sometimes to spread out your assets and hope they all have a big week for their team. It's hard to get multiple, blow-ups in 1 week on the same team.
Yeah, I mean, I'll correlate it to DFS. I would never put more than 2 people on one lineup. I mean, you don't want to put too many eggs in one basket, as they say.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Cody, what do you think of Stash? We were talking about his heavy reliance on 3 Falcons.
For some reason, I'm having a hell of a time hearing you guys. Do you hear me okay?
Now I am, but you were breaking up.
Well, you guys sort this out. I'm going to grab a beer.
Well, anyway, we talked about Stash. I mean, his team is fairly solid. I mean, I'm not sure I love his flex. He's got Murray and Waller in his flex right now. He does have Freeman hurt, which hurts him a little bit. And Peterson's hurt this week as well. So I'm not sure. He's gonna have to do something to try to hold on to that last playoff spot. I was surprised he wasn't able to pull a deal off, because I know he would probably. I'm sure he was trying to pull something off today, the same way I was.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like there's that many people willing to give up too many of their good assets to really drop off the table. Like, not everybody's totally willing to full on rebuild, and I'm in that boat too. So I guess the three that are at the bottom are ready to do the rebuild, and whoever's in the middle isn't.
Cody, can you still hear us? Now you're sideways, which I can't figure out. But
I can't hear you guys.
I can hear him.
Can you try it from your phone? It said it should work from your phone.
I'm trying to my Chrome sound. Yeah, I can't hear. This isn't working well on the phone.
Oh. All right. Well, we need to keep this thing moving. So let's get into
mobile is they said it's experimental.
I think it says that online too.
It said if you're using an Android, use Chrome. If you're using an iPhone, use Safari. At least that's what I
I
read.
can't hear you.
Can you see the chat?
All right. We got to start talking about trades at least, Pat, until he can figure this out.
All right, sounds good. I just put a chat in there.
So
all right, where do you want to start?
So the first trade, I'm just going to go in the order that they kind of came in. So
Okay.
the first trade that we had since I'm only going to talk since the last podcast, so after week 4. The first trade was Munchkins, between the Munchkins and the Soldiers, and it was a big win in my mind for the Munchkins. They got Aaron Jones, Drew Brees, and Bridgewater, and the Soldiers got Josh Allen, Singletary, and Hollywood Brown.
Wow.
Now, I like. Don't get me wrong. I like Allen, Singletary, and Hollywood Brown.
Mm-hmm.
But me, in the Aaron Jones is the prize of that trade. And it's not like Breeze is a slouch. So, I mean, Adam's going for a title this year, if not next. So, to me, this was a win. I mean, I don't think Joe did awful. But I would have wanted, and I would have given up if he had shopped Jones, and we talked about this multiple times on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to sell a stud, put him on the block, and get everybody's offer, because I probably would have given more.
I would have given an offer that I think was competitive for sure.
So, again, it should be a lesson learned to everyone, especially when you're trading a stud. If it's a normal, I don't want to say everyday player, but a normal, regular mid, like from player 40 to 100. I don't know if you have to shop that too much, but when you're talking a first round guy, a stud, you might want, and again, you don't have to. Somebody might blow your doors off and you're happy with it and you go. But I don't see this as a blow the doors off trade.
What week was that, Dave? Do you remember?
That was, I don't know the week, but it was right around 10/22.
Okay.
So it was a few weeks ago.
Week 8-ish.
Yeah. So big trade for
the season of really good production from Aaron Jones. That's huge for the Munchkins for sure.
Yeah, I mean, now they have their core. I mean, their 4 running backs are pretty sick right now. I mean, McCaffrey, Jones, Mack, and Henry. I mean, that's pretty good foursome there.
That's great. Yeah, that's hard to beat.
So yeah, I'm giving that one to the Munchkins. I think it's good. I think the Soldiers did all right. I just think he could have gotten a little bit more. Especially the fact that, I mean, he threw Breeze, and if it was just Aaron Jones for those 3, I would have been like, wow. Then you throw Breeze in there. I mean, he could have traded that maybe to someone else and gotten some more assets for Breeze. So I don't know. That's my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the rationale was there, but I mean, in Dynasty, Breeze is getting up there, but he's still producing. So he's still got a lot of value, but I love the Aaron Jones pickup for the Munchkins for sure. I mean, you look at what he's done, and I'm not sure if that was before or after the 4 touchdown week against the Cowboys, but I mean, he's put up week-winning stats. If you have him one week and he goes off, you win that week, period. and that's really, really huge.
Absolutely. I mean, he's pretty much the breakout running back, right? I mean, we all knew he was pretty good, and he was being held back by who was that coach? McCarthy wasn't using him properly. Either that or the offensive coordinator. Actually, I think McCarthy was the offensive coordinator himself, so he wasn't using him right. And you can see when you use this guy, when you give him 15, 20 touches, he's going to put up big numbers. So, all right, the next trade that I had on the books was you were actually part of it, YEM and then Nate's. This one received some flack on the WhatsApp, but we'll go through it again. So
we voted for this one.
You received Miller and Josh Gordon, and I believe 2 4th-round picks from Nate's for Jimmy Graham, Kute, and a first. Now, I already went through it, but I kind of want to go through, and then you can give me your viewpoint. I mean, basically for the Nate's, he was trying to get something for Gordon. He was offering him to me and to probably everyone else, and he got you on the hook, and you gave him the first. And to be honest with you, he didn't care about Graham and Kute. He literally
right away. I mean, that they were just throwing. It was basically, let me look at my roster, see who I don't need right now, or who I'm sour on, and just kick them to the curb. You know, I mean, I know I overpaid. It was definitely a reach, but I needed wide receiver help big time, and my hope is that Gordon does something with Russell Wilson. He's a fast guy. He's had some success at this level. He had a couple of good games. With the Patriots, he looked all right, and then he was hurt again. Josh Gordon, that is. So I mean, it's a reach, but you know, like I said in the thread there, I'm doubling down on idiot wide receivers. So might as well, if I got AB, might as well go for Josh Gordon. Definitely, if I had a second this year, probably would have been a different deal, but I didn't. So in a moment of weakness, I kind of reached for that and kicked a future asset to the curb for somebody that I think could help me down the stretch. Time will tell if that's right, but that's a big cost for that kind of player.
Yeah, and I'm going to say the same thing to you that I said about Aaron Jones. I consider a first almost as good of an asset sometimes as some of those studs. So if you're going to give up a first and you're like, I'm trying to get a receiver with my first, blast it on WhatsApp and say, I have a first available for the best receiver you can give me.
Yeah.
You might have gotten someone from me who has a deep team, or someone else that would have given you a better option maybe than Gordon. It's just, again.
Hindsight's 20/20, but I like.
Yeah, Miller also is young and has talent. I don't like Trubisky, so I think that cuts his value a little bit. You're right. If you had done Gordon for a second, we wouldn't have had a conversation. I would have said, he's taking a chance. He's taking a flyer. I don't mind. When you say it's a first, potentially you might not make the playoffs. That could be like pick 6. I don't like it as much.
Yeah, I mean, part of, like you said, Miller does have some value. Part of my rationale there from my side is that I watched the Bears game the weekend before, and I liked what I saw out of Miller. I thought he ran some decent routes. If he had a couple better throwing balls, he would have put up some more stats. So that's on his quarterback. So I was happy to get the 2 of them. You know, and I got some 4th-round picks that are going to be very low. So it's almost like third-round picks. And for someone that's low on draft picks this year, I went for it. It's tough to get guys at the 4th-round level.
I put a little note to myself that I'm curious to see first of all, if you even use those picks, and second, if you do use it, who the hell you get at those picks. Because to your point, and I don't even know if we went. I guess we went to the 4th round, but most people were out. And I went back. I didn't see anyone of any significance that you can get at that point. But every draft's different. I know this class is another reason why this first I thought was more valuable. Is this is supposed to be a deep class coming out.
Yep.
So again, we'll see. Hindsight.
I kind of am in favor. I definitely am in favor of allowing anybody that's dropped in the draft process to be picked up immediately.
We have that. We have that on the table.
Yeah, the draft, to me, that makes the draft a little bit more interesting in the later rounds, because if you see a marginal upgrade, you know, say, for example, Houston, Kiki Kuti versus Kenny Stills. What if both of them get dropped in the draft? I could pick one of them up. Or maybe I had Kuti at the time, and maybe I would say, all right, Stills getting more looks. I'm going to go with him instead. And that would be kind of an interesting twist to the draft. But again, that's something we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I don't have, again, we have to bring that up for
heavily in their season.
But I don't necessarily see an issue with it. Cody, are you back?
You can see him.
I don't think he can hear us. All right, next trade I was involved in. You talk about desperation. I kind of had one of those same moves as well. The Maulers received Deontay Johnson from Mr. Minor for Justin Jackson and my 2020 second. Now, basically, I was going to have to drop. Jackson was the guy if I had looked at my team, that's who I was going to drop.
Mm-hmm.
I had to pick someone up. I looked at the waiver wire. I didn't like anyone there. So basically, the trade for me was Deontay Johnson for a second. I needed a wide receiver because AJ Green is a piece of garbage and won't come back on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And I had Hilton hurt and other buys and whatever.
Yeah.
So I needed a receiver. I didn't like really what was on the waiver wire. So I said, you know what? I'll take a flyer on Deontay Johnson. Like you, I had seen him the week before. I kind of liked how he looked. He had a good pedigree coming out of college. So I took a chance. On paper, though, the Minor would win that because I liked the flyer on Jackson, and he got a second-round pick as well.
Yeah, I think that's an opportunistic move by Minor. I mean, that's capitalizing on the situation, and I don't blame him at all for that. Second rounders is fine, and Justin Jackson is as a future asset might be worth something next year. Should we lose Cody?
I can't hear us. I don't know.
I can hear.
Oh, you can?
Yep. I reset my Chrome, did some other stuff, so it's working.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we're talking about a few trades.
The Aaron Jones, the Aaron Jones trade. Now it looks like not a terrible deal because Singletary and stuff, but Jones. It was still, even thinking back, 4 weeks ago, it was still hard to 100% trust Jones with Jamal Williams and stuff in there. So, but now, it looks clear that he's a stud.
He's the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was saying, if it was Jones for those three by himself, it's fine. But then you throw Breeze in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Breeze is a pile of garbage, and Adam's going for it. Like, I think he could have used Breeze maybe to get some other assets.
Yeah. Well, Aaron Rodgers got Corey Davis, so I think Drew Brees would fetch Kiki Kuti.
Fair enough. All right, so we were talking about my desperation trade. I don't know if you wanted to make fun of Pat for his Gordon trade. I kind of hit on that where.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, Pat. I guess. I guess. What are I just don't understand your expectations for Gordon. Like, what? Do you think he's 2013 Gordon? I guess I just don't understand.
Desperation is a stinky cologne, and I have to go for it. I really, my receiving core is so thin after this Antonio Brown debacle that if I can get some sort of production, waiver wire guys weren't cutting it. I don't have I've talked with you multiple times. I don't have a lot of assets to trade on my bench for one guy that. So it was kind of like I'm stuck in the middle. I got to take a chance. I don't have draft picks, so there's no reason to tank. So I might as well double down, and that's what I did.
Yeah, I like the idea of going for it because again, your team's not bad, but it's almost like if you have done the reverse of what we normally talk about. Say, hey, you have a first-round pick you're offering up. People offer me receivers. Did you guys already say that, Dave?
That's what Dave said. Yeah, and
I think you could have got. I think you could have got better. Yeah.
Okay. I got the trade itch. I was happy seeing that Gordon sign. So you just posted there. I saw the Gordon sign with the Seahawks, and that made me like, okay, all right, we got an MVP type quarterback throwing him balls. He played pretty well in New England. If he has a solid week 12 to 16, that'll make that trade worth it for me. Is it a big risk? Absolutely. But it's a risk that I had to take given the position I was in.
Yeah, I like you going for it, but yeah.
So
We'll see.
I agree.
I don't know if you were
We'll
off.
see. Yeah.
I don't know if you were off when I made my comment, but I was talking about referring back to the Aaron Jones. I'm like, if you're trading a stud, it's still a reminder. See what everyone would give you before making the offer. And I kind of count a first round pick as the
exactly. Yep, exactly. Yeah.
I suggested he could have said, I'm willing to offer a first for a receiver. What can you give me? And I bet he would have gotten someone better than Gordon.
Yeah, I can't think of a good example of, there's no one on I don't really have any middle tier receivers or anything, but yeah, there's probably someone out there who would have.
Josh is loaded with Robert. I bet you he would have gobbled that up. He probably would have traded Curtis Samuel for that first.
Yeah.
So again, lesson learned. It's fine. I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, Curtis. He probably would have traded Curtis Samuel in that he has. No, he got Jarvis Landry. Yeah, but yeah, he would have definitely have done that.
So next trade that came up was another one with YEM and Soldiers. Soldiers received D.D. Westbrook and Cooks, and YEM received Sanu, Emmanuel Sanders, and a 2020 second, I believe.
That's correct. 2020, 2020, yeah.
So
for this year until Sanders got hurt, that looks good.
I had no issue with this trade. I'm a little concerned with Cooks. It was funny. I think you asked me, Pat, earlier that day what I thought of Cooks, and I said I had a pretty big concern about the concussions. And then about 4 hours later, he was gone from your team. I don't know if that had any
I was in dialogue about it was like simultaneous, and I mean I was ready to sell on Cooks. Cooks has been on my team since the 2 quarterback, 3 wide receiver days, way back. And I just felt like if I'm already making stupid trades to go for it, I might as well sell a guy that's not going to play potentially the rest of this year. I'm not really sure what his status is, who's a great player. I mean, I love Brandon Cooks. He's carried me many years. I mean, to the finals a couple of years ago. For a couple of stopgaps that'll get me by for maybe 2 or 3 more years that have had pretty decent careers. And now Sanu looked pretty good with the Patriots, and Sanders has looked really good with San Francisco. So maybe breathe a little life in their careers, get a couple of years out of them, and sell off a decent asset that I had.
Seems like they'll help you this year as long as Sam. So yeah, I like that trade.
Yeah, Sanders almost helped me last week. I mean, if he was, like I said to you guys before we were on the air, 1 catch and 3 yards away from me winning that game, and all I needed was a solid performance. If he didn't get hurt, he would have gotten it done. And to make a trade to buy a win, I mean, that's huge in a division where everybody's just about 500.
Yeah, that sucks. I guess it was when my sound wasn't working. I didn't realize you lost that closely. That sucks.
Yeah, and the Soldiers 2020 second is what? Top 4 in the second round, probably. So
exactly.
Oh, yeah,
that was a huge get for me. That was a sticking point, because in the position that I'm in without a lot of draft picks at all, really, that was really something that I needed in return. So not only did I go for it this year, but I have a little bit of a chance to hit on something next year.
Yeah, I like that one. I would definitely mark that down as a win for you. Again, I don't think it's awful for Soldiers. I like Cooks. I mean, if he comes back from the concussions, and I think Westbrook is still have some talent and can still do something.
And Sanu and Sanders don't have value to a team like them or a team like mine. It's
right. Exactly.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
By them to get younger, a lot younger, and sell off a couple guys. And for me, that's in this position where, you know what, the old stars that are still putting up decent stats, not stud stats, can help me in a team. For me, that's weak in wide receiver. That was huge.
All right. The next one was the blockbuster that Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm thinking Eckler for Hyde is a good deal.
Propose it through the site right now. All right, so the next trade is the blockbuster that happened last night between the Sharks and the Nates. The Sharks received Fournette, Landry, McLaurin, and Haskins, and the Nates received Odell, Darnold, Gesicki, and a first. Now that first is probably number 2 at worst, number 3.
Mm-hmm.
could still be number one, to be honest with you, right? I mean, it's not like it's locked up. So a lot of big names here. I have my opinion, but I want to hear your guys first.
Okay, well, to me, the first thing that stood out is that he's got 3 running backs under the age of 25 that are starting caliber, solid, top 10 fantasy running backs. He's got Fournette, he's got Chubb, he's got Saquon, and that is a core to build around. And as he's rebuilding, I think that is a really good get by him, by Josh, to really establish that young core of running backs that he's been lacking. He's been rebuilding that with the Saquon deal or the draft last year, taking him number 1. That was awesome for Josh. I like this move a lot. I see what the Nates are doing. The Nates are full on stockpiling low picks, and really, if you're a guy like Jonathan that drafts really well, that's a good strategy to go.
Cody, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm surprised the Nates had to throw in McLaren and Landry. Those guys have value, especially in McLaren. So, yeah, I kind of like, I see both sides of it. Getting Beckham, who, still could be something. Almost had a touchdown earlier today, and obviously a top 3 pick. That's definitely a good return. And, Fournette, was really disappointing last year. He isn't scoring touchdowns this year, so he's probably overrated. He may even be selling high on him. But yeah, I'm surprised he had to throw in those couple of other younger assets, or at least McLaren, who's younger, and Landry, who's been better than Beckham this year for most of the year. But yeah, I definitely like it. I like it a lot from Josh's side because of what you just said, Pat, and he even got some other things back that are useful.
How far away is Fournette from free agency, real quick?
He's in his 3rd year, so he has 1 or 2 left. So,
I mean, the Jags' offense has been better.
Yeah, taking running backs fall off. He's getting a lot of carries and stuff. So who knows? Yeah, I mean, he's a study. I made an offer. I didn't have a Beckham in there, but I think I offered him what it came up to like 5 first-round picks, including like picks I had. The 2 guys I took in the 1st round this year or something. So I made a pretty big offer that I'm probably glad I didn't even do for Fournette. So,
Dave?
Yeah. So to me, it's a huge win for the Sharks. I can't believe he basically got Odell value on what Odell has done in the past and not what he's doing now. I mean, I know he's young. I assume he hasn't lost all that talent, but Mayfield to me doesn't look great. But he basically got full value for Odell, which, I mean, he came to me. I pretty much have talked to everyone in the league about trades. So I pretty much know all the names that came up. And I was kind of like, I'm not buying Odell at what the name value tells me I should pay, that you probably want for him. I'm not going to give it. And he ended up getting it, in my mind. What I see is that he got the value.
Yeah, his pick. I mean, he could have the 1st overall pick too. So, there's no Todd Gurley or Zeke or Barkley like dominating college football, but it's more just about a good running back goes to a team where he's going to be the feature back, Josh Jacobs type situation, and that's very valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, I don't think the Nates, to your point, I don't think they lost. Like, I think it's a pretty good trade. I was surprised that he was able to get full value for Odell, and to me, that's what he got.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's the Nates got to hit on the pick. That's it. If they hit, then it's a win for them. If they don't, it's a win for Josh, for sure.
And he needs Odell to become Odell again.
Right.
Like, if Odell is what I see this year
for the rest of his career, forget it. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. So, I don't think that's
Josh Gordon.
I'm not saying that's the case. I don't think that's the case. I think he will bounce back. I think I assume Baker will get better and not be what he's doing this year. But all right, so that's that trade. And then one last trade happened right before the deadline. Another Sharks trade with easy money. The Sharks got Preston Williams and Raquel Armstead, and easy money got Curtis Samuel. So off the top of my head, I mean, the Sharks, they got Armstead, who's the handcuff to Fournette. So I guess he was backing that up. And he got a little bit of a downgrade, I would say, well, probably more than a little, from Samuel to Preston Williams. I did like what I saw from Williams this year. And the other key piece to this for Josh is that Williams is on the IR, so he was able to slip him right in the IR, and he didn't have to drop anyone. So he added 2 guys to his roster and didn't have to make any drops for only giving 1 guy up. So again, and easy money, got Curtis Samuel, pretty good young wide receiver. So I like this deal for both sides as well.
I do. I think that's about as fair as they come. I mean, that's a good, you help me now, I'll help you later kind of thing. And I think that's exactly what the Sharks are trying to do, is get some help for later. And I think easy money's going for it. And I think that's a solid pick. I mean, Curtis Samuel's, he's not old either. You know, I mean, he's going to get a lot of years out of him. He's 23. You know,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that's a great deal for both of them. It helps easy money more now, but I think the Sharks stand to reap the benefits of that down the road too. So that's a great win-win, I think.
Yeah, that trade made sense. And Armstead's looked good when he's gotten in there for Fournette. So yeah, who knows? Yeah, maybe Fournette leaves as a free agent in a couple of years, and Armstead's the guy or something.
Yeah, and then he has 2 pieces. You're right. So again, some good trades. What did we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 trades over the last few weeks. I think they were all pretty good. I didn't see, there was a lot of repetitive teams here. YEM involved in a few deals, Soldiers involved in a few deals, Sharks involved in a few. So not everybody was involved, but I think there were some good deals.
Is the deadline done now when this game started, or is it going?
Yeah, I believe so. It should have locked because we had the fiasco.
I did just offer Pat a trade, so I guess it doesn't count. It involved, I threw you some picks and everything.
We had the fiasco last year where Pat it was the Thursday night game, and we're getting texts saying that we're still working on a trade, and
because the lineup wasn't locked, but
oh yeah, somebody locked. That's what it was.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So wait,
you definitely can trade.
Last year the trade deadline was on a Saturday, I think.
Is it still letting you trade?
It let me put an offer through, so yeah, maybe it's until Saturday or something.
Hold on, I'm looking here.
I think it did. Let me.
Oh, it's okay. So I guess it's not through the kickoff as long as someone's not locked, because it says 11:14. Like when you go on the app to the main screen that pops up, your trade deadline is Thursday 11:14. It still has that button where you can trade. So I think the only restriction is if someone's in this game, they're locked and they won't be able to be traded. So
the only lock involved here is the lock that Carlos Hyde will make YEM for winning the division.
You had my best offer. You didn't want it. I'm laughing because I just read the offer, but I'm not going to divulge. But lucky guy. All right, should we check out some previews for this week, Dave? What do you think?
Well, one other topic I want to bring up is the tanking rule.
Oh yeah. You mentioned that.
Yeah.
We gotta. We had Adam, Josh, and I had a 2-hour text exchange about this this week. We definitely have to revamp the rules, and we've taken that on as an off-season thing that we're gonna kind of reword, and well, obviously we'll get legal approval, but there are some rules that are just too vague and they don't map out the rule as we intend it to be. I'll use the example that had happened this week, just as the example, since it's off the top of my head. The Nates had Kittle out, didn't have another tight end on his roster that wasn't on bye.
Well, technically, I mean, I was the ironic,
let me
non-victim of this, but he wasn't out. He was, doubtful.
Yeah, so he was doubtful.
Yeah,
pretty much no. When it goes to doubtful, they're not playing. I don't know if I've ever seen someone come back from doubtful, but
yeah, but technically it's a difference.
I mean, I don't love it. It doesn't pass the sniff test, but that's honestly brilliant managing. I mean, if you have that card in your pocket and you can just kind of skate by with getting a 0 out of one of your players and you're in tank mode.
No, but
it is a loophole that he exploited.
Well,
yeah, because the rule
he picked up the backup.
No, he didn't pick up the backup. Dwelly was the backup. And they also, if anything, you would have gotten Selleck, who they activated off the PUP list, come back. However you say his name, Tuliololo is not the backup. Well,
I did read. I mean, clearly there wasn't a backup. I don't know. Yeah, I forget who. Yeah, there's three. Selleck, I don't think he caught one. Tulivo didn't catch one. But I did read that Tuliolo guy was like potentially going to take some of the targets. It wasn't like I don't think he purposely picked the shittiest possible option.
Did he break the rule as it's written? No. And that's why we're going to rewrite the rule, because he's breaking the intention of the rule. There was two guys on that team that he could have picked that had, again, I don't trust CBS projections, but Tuliolo was projected for like 0.4 points. So, I mean, and Roy was projected for 6.
If you had any other tight end that's in the waivers.
So if you're not trying to lose, which is what the tank rule is trying to prevent, you pick the guy up that's supposed to be projected for 6 and not the guy that's projected for 0.4. So again, we're going to rewrite that rule. Most likely, my suggestion is that it's got to be someone in the top 5 of the projection. Again, we don't trust the projection, but at least those people are projected to score points.
Right,
at what point, like,
get some touches?
But at what point, though, like if a guy's doubtful, what point do you have to do it? I mean, yeah, he could have picked up, the tight end from Seattle who had that big game, but I don't know how. Does that have to be before that game, before the 4:00 game, before the Sunday night game? Like, I'm not suggesting anything, but I guess we got to just be careful because again, he was doubtful. He wasn't, it wasn't 100% that he was out. So I don't know.
Right. This is a rare situation where the player was on the Monday night game.
Yep.
It happened to be kind of a perfect storm of events that worked for Jonathan's favor, really.
And by favor, we mean the last 2 champs battling it out to see who would lose against each other. That's fucked up situation.
But my other piece to the rule, or not even the rule, but had he come to the league and said, I don't know what's going on, I don't want to maybe drop someone if he's going to play, it would have been a little bit different. But he picked up Tuliolo at like 7:00, didn't put him in literally until 8:19, and the game started at 8:20. So it was definitely shady. He didn't want to put him in and show people he was starting Tuliolo, whatever his name was.
My biggest problem with it was, and he follows the stuff pretty closely, that he acted like he was surprised that Kittle might not play. That's what spells the stink test to me.
Sunday
like, oh, he really?
Me, and he's like, he's doubtful and not going to play.
Yeah, I think he follows it more closely than that.
That was the only issue I had with it. Also, I was like, that doesn't seem like Jonathan. That seems like a lawyer.
I'm in favor of whatever we do to strengthen it, but we just have to be, it's going to be tough not to have any loopholes. So we just got to think about it.
So I'll give you a different scenario on this. This week I'm playing Cody. I have Engram. He's on bye. I don't have another tight end on my roster. I don't have a player on my roster that I'm willing to drop. Now, I'm looking to win. I want to win. I'm not trying to tank. I am taking I could take the option of not picking someone up and taking a 0 from that spot, because I am not.
You have a lot to lose here. Yeah.
I could lose a win, and I could lose the first. I could lose my.
But in that case, you're not required to take whatever the waiver point guy is, right?
No. So my announcement, and again, I was trying to work a deal so it would free up a roster spot. That didn't work. I'm still debating it. I could potentially drop one guy. I don't want to, but I could. It's going to come down to a gut feel if I think I can beat Cody without him. If I wasn't playing Cody,
your gut feel says you probably can.
Yeah. So if I wasn't playing Cody, it probably wouldn't even be a choice. I would make the pickup. But again, this is more of not a tank, because I want to win. I don't want to lose. But so you still have that option, but I would make the announcement to the league. I'm just trying to show I can't just do stuff without.
Yeah, a little bit of
say I was 6-4, or what's the record now? I would be 6-4. Say I was and I was questionable, or I was one of you you, Stash, or JR, who you're close to making the playoffs, you don't know if that team's tanking or not. You got to make your intentions clear on what's trying to happen here, because
right. Well, the only thing that comes to mind right now on that is that years ago I had the strategy of having everybody on bye the same week.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And my strategy was, okay, I'm going to punt 1 week, and I'm going to have a full strength lineup the other weeks and see if that helps me. And I was required to drop some of my players and pick up players that were going to play. I was not allowed to have a bye person in my starting lineup.
Well, that would be the same. Yeah, that'd be the same. In fact,
That same thing applies. And that was the precedent that was set, in 2013 or something.
Yep. And that's one of it started all the way back then when we started thinking about the tanking rule. We only put it in place a little while, or a year or two ago. But again, we'll revamp that in the off season. We got a long list of stuff that either we need to vote on, or we're just going to, again, make these rules enforceable. And again, I think we need to start having, I think Cody suggested it a few times, it is actually written in the rules that we can have penalties.
Yep,
we need to decide on what these penalties are. Like, we're gonna have to have some kind of a think tank on that, because I don't know what the penalties should be. But I love the sound of it, because
just take the penalty, take whatever that player that is on bye that's in your roster, whatever his average is for the season, and deduct that from your score. So if Engram is averaging 11.6 points, deduct that from your score.
Well, that's another way to do it. Point penalty. Yeah, I was thinking dollar penalties, but point penalties. That's interesting. Well, no, that would be no. But if we're a tanking team, we got to think about it. Yeah,
right.
You need to think about it.
It would help you.
Yeah, you don't want to help the person that's trying to tank.
Right. Well, this one's definitely a head scratcher for.
I'm a little upset because I brought it up that Kittle, like I knew Jonathan was just kind of ignoring it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I brought it up on the WhatsApp thing. Had I not done that, I don't know if he was aware of the rule that you get the highest scoring free agent player if you don't do it. So I wish I had just
very unlikely. Yeah.
I wish I had just shut up, because I think that highest player scored like 17 points, and he would have.
I know. Ivan mentioned who it was. It was someone. Yeah, I forget the time. Maybe. Oh, it was. I'm getting the Sunday and Monday nights confused, and I'm getting all the games confused now. But yeah, there was a tight end on one of the primetime games that had a big game.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, he didn't break the rule. He bended it as far as it can bend, but we're going to try to button that up. So hopefully it can't be bent. I mean, we're all,
one by 9 points.
We're all trying to have a good league. Like, I don't want people trying to, okay, you really do want, everyone wants the number one pick, but let's do it within the rules, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, I won by 9 points. Goddard's averaging, 6 points a game. That's the other guy we had on his bench. I mean, he did have 2 tight ends, so I don't know.
But he was on bye, so he couldn't put.
Yeah, I know. So I'm just saying, like, suppose he wasn't on bye and he played out now. Like, what did it really make a difference or not? I'm not sure.
He was injured or something.
Yeah, Garoppolo tried. My team tried to suck. Garoppolo tried to throw a shitload of interceptions. Battle defense fucking scores, cut 5 sacks, 2 fumble returns, and a touchdown. And that's why I won. Those fucking assholes.
All right, so let's just do quick. What do you guys think about this week? And then we'll wrap this thing up, because we're already at 54 minutes here.
Well, this is a pivotal week for some of the teams in the league, especially the Maris Division teams.
Yeah, so you got JR. Oh, JR is playing the Sharks, so he should win that, I would think. Actually, the Sharks
are actually reloaded, though. They're actually a little bit more dangerous than they look.
Yeah.
They have looked, I should say. That's going to be a little tighter than I thought. Saquon's on the bye anyway, but he's hurt. He's not right. So that's a nice.
Landry already scored a few.
Well, that's the funny part. Landry, the throwing in the deal is, he's making a difference here.
Yeah. Smith-Schuster is out with a concussion.
Yeah, I saw him. Yeah, he got knocked out.
So I think JR might be in trouble. But you're right. I don't know how. I really don't know how the Sharks are 2-8. I told him last week when I had to play him.
Right.
I look at his roster and his starters, and I'm like, how the hell is this guy 2-8? But
yeah, he's had some tough luck. I mean, Mahomes was hurt, but that's the thing is that
Mahomes and Barkley were hurt. Yeah,
it's a scary looking team. I mean, this team is deep. His starting lineup is pretty nasty. Josh is really. I'm really impressed. I'm not just his friend, but I mean, I really like the roster that he's constructed, and with the age of some of these guys, like he's really done a good job of getting young talent that is ready to win soon.
I forget what I called it on the pod after he made one final trade last year. I'm like, you didn't just tear it down, you like burnt it down.
Yeah. Well, we kept on, like we joked about it. I might have been on one of them too, like where he just kept like all of a sudden, okay, he was rebuilding, he got his Barkley, he had some other young picks, and he just kept trading even young players, and it's like, man. But this is it, and again, I remember he used to compare me to like the 76ers, but I think now the process is over for him. He has Mahomes, Fournette, Chubb, Barkley, he has a lot of other good players. He has a
wide receiver. He has Mike Williams. He has
now he has McLaren. Yeah, he has pieces, not just those 4 or 5 good players. He has other pieces.
Yeah. He's got a young tight end. He's got Font.
Yeah.
And again, they're not studs, but he's got Gallman, the handcuff to Barkley. He's got Reichel now, the handcuff to Fournette. So, I mean, he's building this team the right way. I think Pat said it really well. I did tell him right before this podcast, though, he's going to have a tough time getting down to 20 or under for the draft. Like I think he's got 5 guys on the IR. They're all pretty good too. So he's going to have to pull off some 2-for-1, 3-for-1 trades.
And this is why getting the guys that are dropped into the player pool for the draft at draft time. So, that helps the guys that don't have deep teams to be like, all right, which one of these do I want? I think that's something. But, you did forget that he does have the best kicker in
I'm not getting into that, but I am bringing up for a vote, and kicker's got to go. I'm sorry.
No.
It's got to go.
It's part of the strategy. It's part of the game.
It's all random. It's fucking.
It is. You can't predict it. I mean, there's something.
Why are you saying no to that, Cody? I don't understand. Why do you not want to get rid of it?
Because it's just part of it. It just adds to the fun. It's all. I mean,
you guys can be Bear fan. Do kickers matter? And
to me, that's not fun. Building a sick team and getting beat because a guy Butker hits 6 field goals.
Butker had a good game. I mean, shit, people get pushed out the 1 yard line. Odell Beckham, he had a touch. He got pushed. They called it back. He got down to 1. That's luck. Why does he not get all the points? He got it to the 1-inch yard line. Baker Mayfield snuck it in. What's the difference?
I don't know.
Baker Mayfield shouldn't get that quarterback sneak touchdown point either. Then,
part of the strategy is getting the kicker you think is going to score points that week, or is on an offense that you think is going to at least move the ball and get field goal opportunities or at least extra points. There's strategy involved. Is it as important as a running back or wide receiver? No, not at all. But it could make or break your week, and having the kicker that you think is going to do well, it adds a little bit to it. I mean, literally, I had my kicker on a bye 2 weeks ago, and I had to pick, and it was like, okay, what I got McLaughlin, or I got I forget who the other guy was. I think it might have been Jason Myers, actually. I don't remember. And I was hanging out with my parents, and I was like, go with the Irish guy, and he almost won me the week. Literally it was Badgley. It was a Thursday night game. I was going to take Badgley. Decided to try Chase McLaughlin, the rookie, but I like San Francisco's offense. I don't like Thursday night games, so I went with that. That actually netted me 6 points. Badgley had 6. McLaughlin had 12. McLaughlin could have had 15, and that would have won me the game, but he didn't. He missed that shanker. But that actually came into play. So I kind of like that. I mean, even though it bit me this time, it could have bit me even harder. So
Yeah, Dave, maybe the rest of the guys agree, but me and Pat are the kicker people. So
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go through the other matchups. I'd be remiss if I didn't. I mean, it's the one season we haven't had that many podcasts, so we haven't really talked about it. I mean, we mentioned it briefly, but the Munchkins have really, really built a powerhouse here. They've had a 6 season so far. They're averaging like 150 points a week. It seems like they have 2 or 3 200-point games.
Connor leave the game today too.
He only
played. Schraub's in a little bit of trouble here.
He's only got 2 points, so
they said it looks. I've been watching. I mean, Pittsburgh barely has the ball in this game. They're playing like shit, but yeah, he might be out too. Yeah, Schraub's in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah. But yeah, so we talked about the 4 backs for the Munchkins. He's also got Allen Robinson, Mike Evans at receiver. I mean, he's got Deshaun Watson and Breeze now as a quarterback combo. Hooper's a breakout tight end. I know he's hurt for a month, so that's going to hurt him a little bit.
Well, look at his team. What's crazy is he has Aaron Jones looking at his starting lineup and Derrick Henry on bye, right? But his starting lineup still looks pretty damn good.
Yeah.
He's projected for 133 points, even with 2 main guys on the bench.
Yeah, this is the best team in the league. It's nice that everyone having the best player in the league always helps, but this is
I said it on WhatsApp. I said he's the team to beat for sure. I mean,
Deshaun Watson's on bye too.
Right, and he's still projected for a lot of points.
I was really hoping for easy money to get an upset here because I don't see beating him twice in the division. So that means his points will put him in first, and then I'll drop to the 4 seed. So, I was rooting for easy money this week.
133 on the site, which is one of the highest I've seen all year, and that's with Watson on the bye and without one of his running backs. I mean, that's
2 of his running backs: Jones, Watson, and Henry are out. And Hooper.
Watson's not out. He's choosing to bench him. Watson's against the Ravens, so
that's right. Yeah. He is just choosing to bench him. Shit.
You're right.
I don't like that move.
Jeffrey Marlon's been pretty good. Love Aaron Jones, absolutely, and Derrick Henry's been still solid too. I mean, that's as good as it gets. Top when you got 4 running backs of that quality, and his receivers aren't too shabby either. Mike Evans is one of those studs that can win you a week. Allen Robinson with the struggles of Trubisky's fallen off, but he's still a force. You know, he's not terrible. And was it Trevin Williams? Has he got also?
So what about easy money? I mean, they're 7-3. They've had a good season. I always somehow think it's smoke and mirrors, but I mean, he's got Wilson, who's been amazing this year. I mean, Joe Mixon's had a down year, but he's had a good last few weeks. Connor, we talked about, he's pretty good. I like the Galladay-Cooper combination. I like Hunter Henry at tight end. He's got Edelman and Lindsey in his flex. I don't know if that's his best option, but what do you guys think? What do you guys think of easy money?
Yeah, I mean, he has a solid team. I mean, Connor. It's what impresses me, I guess, is he's doing well, and Connor and Mixon have been super disappointing. But he has enough other depth, and he's getting by. And I'm a little surprised he's been able to go 7-3 with some of the challenges he's had. But he has a good team.
Right, and don't forget he just got Curtis Samuel like an hour ago, so that just makes him a little bit deeper too. I mean, his team is definitely solid. There's no question about it. I mean, yeah, he's got some good players. He's got some really good players. So it's a force to be reckoned with. If he makes the playoffs, so I don't think anybody wants that matchup.
Yeah, but I definitely think he's third. He's the 3rd best team in the division, but it's a solid team.
But it's still, I think he could beat a Maris division team in the playoffs without really breaking a sweat. But
I think your team and his team are actually pretty comparable. Because I like your running backs a lot better, and I would say if I was doing a power rankings, I'd have you guys about equal. But definitely behind the Maulers and the Munchkins.
All right, Dave.
Yeah. I was trying to look up the on the power rankings. Yeah.
Well, the Munchkins have a near perfect power rating.
They're 88. They'd be 88 and 22 if they played everyone every week.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
And I would be 82 and 28. So I'm a little bit 6 games behind them, but
Still damn good. Yeah. Wow. How many weeks has the Munchkins won now? 3 or 4?
I think it said today that it's 5, and I think since I beat them the last time, I think they won all their games. No, that's not possible.
It doesn't say it on the my iPad app. Let me look. I think it says it on the internet, but I don't want to leave this tab for this. But I think if you use a computer, it tells you how many weeks you've won. But regardless, it's at least 3. I know that. So that's nice. You know, it's $36 already in his pocket, which is pretty cool.
Oh, so the stash for the other team to beat the Munchkins.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Interesting.
All right. So what other big matchups do we have this week?
Well, we got me versus Stiff Arm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, well, that's the other. That's really the big one of the week.
Yeah, this is huge.
Yeah,
You know, my team took down Stiff Arm in week 1, way back. And if I remember correctly, I don't think it was a landslide. I think it was a pretty close game. I don't really remember. It's been a long time. But this has serious divisional implications, especially if the Sharks can manage to upset JR. This could be the division right here. If I go 2-0 versus Stiff Arm this year, then that's the tiebreaker for me, and we don't have to go to the points. In that case, he's in the lead by a long shot. So this is a pivotal week for YEM, and to rebound after losing by 0.8 points. This is crucial. This is my season, really.
Yeah, I agree. This is a huge week. You got lucky he's got Lockett on bye.
Mm-hmm. And Jacobs is a little banged up too, but he should play.
Yeah. Jacobs and Elliott both have great matchups. Yeah, it is. Yeah, your team always looks better until you kind of look and say, shit, both Gordon and Eckler probably can't have good weeks. So,
right.
You know,
right.
You forget when you look at them both individually. I'm like, okay, I like your matchup there. I like your matchup there.
Mm-hmm.
Godwin's cooled down. Hardman could do nothing.
Yep. The one thing I do.
Yeah, I mean, I like you here.
This goes defense versus Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that, Cody. Sorry, man. I was talking over you, but Niners defense versus Kyler Murray.
Oh.
That's crucial for me. If they can shut Murray down, you know, it's twofold. If Murray doesn't have a good game, that means the defense is probably going to score some points for me. He's got the #1 defense in fantasy football for the last 10 years. They're putting up stats like no other. And, you know, if your Eagles help me out here and score some points.
That's what I was about to say.
Need it, yeah. I'll be rooting for the first time since the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Well, when I beat Dave with 7 Wentz touchdowns, it'll help you.
There you go. Bring it on.
but if your team is similar, not to bring up other leagues, but I have cousins in another league, and kind of as cousins goes, my team goes. So that may have been the same as you. So that might be important for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely starting Cousins over Goff this week.
Yep,
After what he did against the Steelers last week, who I don't think are anywhere close to what they were a few years ago defensively, for him to stink it up like that, I'm going Cousins. If I started Cousins over Goff last week, I won. So
ouch. I didn't realize you started Goff.
I mean,
yeah, I like you to win this, but it's going to be close.
Mm-hmm. It says 58%, 42% right now, but I'm sure that'll change back and forth throughout the week. This is going to be a close one.
Yeah, I have a long-going podcast rule of not looking at the site projection, so I'll ignore that.
Good move. They don't mean shit anyway.
Exactly. I hate when people talk about them because they're just stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a guide. I wouldn't say they're meaningless. I just think you can't base anything on it, really.
My meaningless life would be so much better if there was an option to turn them off, so I didn't have to look at them.
Fair enough. So I'm playing Jazz Hole. Hopefully I could win even without a tight end. We'll see if I make the move for a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
We just lost Cody somehow. And who's the other matchup?
Stash and the Nates. This is pretty big for the Stash. I mean,
Yeah,
they need to take care of business. They should because of this what the story is here. But if something happens and Atlanta shits the bed and has just a terrible, terrible week, he could lose this. So that could be really crucial for the Stash. What's their division standings right now?
yeah. I don't see how they're going to lose this week, but you never know.
I don't, but yeah, he's tied with Minor. That's right. So that's big. You know, if, you never know in fantasy, but the Stash have to take care, have to beat the teams they are supposed to beat, and if they don't, then they may find themselves out of the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
I think that might wrap it up. We're at a minute or an hour and 11 minutes.
Okay, and we lost Cody anyway, so
Yeah. All right. Well, Pat, thank you very much for joining.
thank you. Good job hosting. It was a pleasure to be here. A lot of fun.
Good luck this week, and I'm sure we'll have you on in future podcasts.
Sounds good. You know, I enjoy it. All right. Take care, man.
Take it easy.
Go Marist.